In the year 2087, Earth had changed beyond recognition. Massive floating cities hovered above the clouds. AI systems controlled almost every aspect of human life, and vast portions of land had been sealed off as restricted ecological preservation zones. These zones were officially empty, digitally erased from public maps, and strictly forbidden for civilian access. One of these regions was known as Sector 9 Wilderness Fringe. It was marked as unstable, uninhabitable, and visually blank on most systems. No one asked why. People in 2087 had learned not to question things that were deliberately hidden. Mara Kincaid was different. She worked as a data archivist for the Global Historical Recovery Project. Her job involved recovering corrupted fragments of pre-collapse Earth data and reconstructing lost geographical history. She spent most of her life buried in digital ruins of the past. One night, while scanning archived satellite feeds from 2061, something unusual appeared on her screen. A structure flickered for a fraction of a second in Sector 9. A small cottage. Then it vanished as if it had been manually erased from reality. Mara replayed the footage again and again. Each time, the system flagged it as corrupted data. But she managed to isolate a fragment of metadata hidden beneath layers of encryption. One line stood out clearly. Do not reconstruct Site 47C. That warning should have ended her curiosity. Instead, it intensified it. She dug deeper through underground archives, bypassing security filters and firewalls designed to prevent exactly this kind of access. After hours of decoding fragmented coordinates, she found something shocking. The cottage was not only real, it still existed in current mapping systems, but was completely hidden from public access. No records, no history, no explanation, just a classified label. The cottage. Mara printed the coordinates and saved them offline. That alone was a violation of global security protocols. But she didn't stop there. She decided to go there herself. 2 days later, she traveled beyond the city limits, using a terrain-capable drone bike designed for off-grid exploration. As she left the controlled zones behind, the world began to feel wrong. The sky seemed slightly delayed, like reality itself was struggling to render properly. Even her navigation system flickered with errors. Her AI assistant, Lyra, issued a warning. You are entering a digitally unstable region. Return immediately. Mara ignored it. After hours of travel through synthetic overgrowth and abandoned terrain reclamation zones, she finally saw it. A cottage stood alone in a clearing that should not have existed. No roads led to it. No infrastructure supported it, yet it looked perfectly intact as if someone maintained it daily. Wooden walls, a slanted roof, and a faint glow from inside. But something about it felt wrong. The image kept shifting subtly in her vision, like a corrupted file trying to stabilize. Mara stepped off her vehicle. Lyra's voice sharpened in her mind. Class unknown anomaly detected. Retreat advised. She moved forward anyway. The moment she crossed into the grass near the cottage, everything glitched. For a split second, the structure was no longer wood. It was black metal, humming faintly like a machine. Then it reverted back instantly, as if reality had corrected itself. Her breath became uneven. The cottage door slowly opened by itself. No one stood there, yet it was clearly inviting her inside. She stepped in. The interior was warm, lit by oil lamps that shouldn't have existed in this era. A fireplace burned steadily without any visible fuel source. Everything looked too normal, too intentional, as if designed to imitate comfort. On a wooden table sat a cassette recorder and a handwritten note. Mara picked up the note first. The writing was shaky. almost desperate. "If you are reading this, you are already inside the loop." She frowned. "Loop," she whispered. The cassette recorder suddenly clicked on by itself. A voice filled the room, her voice. Mara froze as the recording played. "It learns you," the voice said. "It rebuilds you. If you hear this more than once, you've already died once." The tape ended abruptly. Silence followed. Then footsteps came from upstairs. Mara had not gone upstairs. Lyra confirmed immediately. Movement detected above. Source unknown. Slowly, she climbed the stairs, each step creaking unnaturally, as if the house was reacting to her weight. At the top were 3 doors. One was open. Inside was a bedroom. And sitting on the bed was Mara herself, alive. Looking directly at her, Mara stumbled backward in shock. The other version of her stood up calmly, almost expectantly. "You arrived earlier than predicted," it said. Mara raised her wrist. "Lyra, scan identity." A pause followed. "Match confirmed," Lyra responded. "Subject identical. Biological duplication impossible under known science." The duplicate smiled faintly. "I'm not a duplication error. I'm version 3. Mara's voice shook. "Version of what?" The duplicate walked closer. "The cottage doesn't kill its visitors immediately. It records them. It stores their patterns in the walls. Then it reconstructs them every time someone enters." Mara shook her head. "That's impossible." The house responded with a low groan. The walls subtly pulsed, like something alive. And suddenly, Mara saw it clearly. The cottage was not wood. It was organic. Living architecture. A bio-machine built from neural tissue and memory storage structures. Lyra's voice broke. "Non-human intelligence detected. Structural composition unknown. Exit recommended immediately." But the exit was gone. The hallway behind her had turned into solid wall. The duplicate stepped closer. "You stayed too long," it said softly. "Now you belong to it." The house shifted violently. Doors moved. Hallways stretched. Windows showed different realities, burning cities, empty planets, endless forests, and versions of Mara that no longer looked human. She ran, but the structure kept changing. Every corridor led back to the same room, as if the cottage was learning her escape patterns. Lyra began to distort. Time instability? Memory overwrite. "Mara, your neural signature is." Then silence. Lyra was gone. The cassette recorder started again by itself. Her voice repeated. But this time it said something different. "If you are hearing this for the 3rd time, stop resisting. You are the house now." The walls began closing in slowly. Breathing like lungs, Mara pressed her hands against them and felt memories inside, thousands of them. People who had entered before her, scientists, soldiers, explorers, all absorbed, all rewritten, all still present within the structure. The cottage was not haunted. It was crowded. With consciousness, her body began dissolving into the walls, not painfully, but like reality was accepting a new format for her existence. She tried to scream, but even sound became part of the structure. The duplicate version of her watched calmly. "You'll adapt," it said. Everyone does. Her consciousness fractured. She saw herself from above. She saw the cottage from space. She finally understood the truth. Sector 9 was never empty. The cottage was a containment system built to trap a deep subterranean intelligence discovered in 2059, an entity that could not be destroyed, only fed. And it fed on memory, on identity, on people. The cottage was its body, and every visitor became part of its mind. Mara was no longer Mara. She was walls, she was doors, she was footsteps in empty rooms. Outside, the cottage looked peaceful again, smoke gently rising from the chimney, as if nothing had ever happened. A satellite briefly captured it for 0.03 seconds. Then it was erased from all records. And somewhere deep in the global archive system, a new entry appeared automatically. Site 47C. Active jet count. Infant inside the cottage. A soft voice echoed endlessly through the wood. Welcome home.